Well, Francisco, thank you for joining us. Guys, welcome to AAC Podcast here. I'm your host, Roy Castillo. We're missing my best friend and also my business partner, Jaron Matheson. He's not going to be able to join us today, but we're going to have a good time here. So I have Francisco here. He's actually a doctor. We had a really good conversation. You come from the health also, but your doctor is mainly in chiropractic, right? Yeah. And so you've been making quite a bit of noise on your Instagram. We've had a great conversation outside just about, the health and wellness, where we're at in society. I was really interested in getting your take on, pharmaceuticals, where are we going with food, how everything's being processed. And he just reminded me that Buffalo Wild Wings actually cooks with beef tallow. Mm-hmm. And I was telling you about when I first met my wife. She actually wasn't my wife at the time, but it was on Valentine's Day where she was having a bad day, and I finally was able to become friends with her. And I said, you shouldn't be alone on Valentine's Day. Why don't we just go and hang out? And so she agreed to it. And I took her to the most romantic restaurant. And I set this up whenever I tell people this story. And I say, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings. And she ordered this pink fruity drink. And and then we started really cooking back, or getting back to cooking with beef tallow at home, especially with our kids too. And we just been able to relate on those topics. So, tell me tell the audience a little bit about who you are and your background.
What's up, everybody? I'm Francisco Guerrero. I'm 32 years old. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas, Parkland, here in Dallas. I grew up
we're both Texas, Dallas natives here.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I grew up in the matrix. I grew up in the system. I recently broke free from that. Not completely, of course. We had to make our way of living. We're still caught up in this financial system that we're in, paying taxes and whatnot. Still a rat race out there. But that doesn't really faze me at all. So I grew up in Dallas. I went to WTY High School here, went to UNT in Denton, studied kinesiology, went to chiropractic school afterwards. I don't really label myself as a doctor. There's people online, oh, are you really a doctor? You're just a chiropractor. That doesn't really faze me at all.
Hold on. Let me push back here. You can't say you don't label yourself a doctor.
It
says it on your Instagram handle, Dr. Francisco.
Yeah, I earned it. Everybody is their own doctor. That's where I come. That's my own standpoint. Everybody has control of their own health. Everybody knows their health better than their general practitioner. Like, your health more, your body more than anybody else. So you're your own doctor at the end of the day. So that's where I come from. I'm more of a holistic healing approach. How I approach my work is I let people know that you're going to do the healing. I'm not healing you. I'm not taking credit of any of that. You have that power within you. You have that intelligence within you. So
we're not sacrificing goat heads or
definitely not. No witchcraft, no voodoo, no snake oil. Like people say on comments, oh, you're just a snake oil doctor. You're not even a doctor. And I'm like, you can say whatever you want. That's not going to faze me. I'm just going to move on with my life.
People say that to you?
Yeah, online? Just people that get triggered and just they try to bring me down. Like just the other day, somebody commented and they were just triggered because I was pointing out how racers or how runners aren't really in the best shape. Like most runners are not in the best shape. Like most people are just overweight. They just want to lose weight real quick, and then they end up losing weight, and they just end up going back to the weight they started with. And I did a video, and somebody I don't even know commented on TikTok, and I don't know what he was saying. He was triggered, and then the next day he just left a bad review on my chiropractic business page, and I was like, what does this have to do with running and being overweight? Being overweight, being obese, that is sickness in itself, and that is not normal. And that's just living a mediocre life. So you never came into my office, but yet you're over here leaving me a bad review on my chiropractic profession page, which, again, it doesn't really bother me. I just moved on, and, I'm just reporting that as spam, and I'm telling others to report it as spam, so hopefully it can go away.
Okay. So do you get, I'm pretty sure you don't, but like, did you used to like get like who said this, and you kind of go into this deep dive of like who this person is, what's their background, stuff like that. Like, has that ever like been like something you do? Because I've done that before.
Yeah, a little bit. Before I was just like not really developed as a person. My mindset was weak, and I used to like validate other opinions over my own, and I used to just get in my own head. Whenever people try to get in my own head, they'll get in my head. But now I've just like done the personal work, and now it's just like it doesn't faze me as much as it used to.
It's so easy to kind of let those people in your head, and it almost goes back to people pleasing too. I've been guilty of that as well, where I've had to separate myself from that people pleasing mentality. And I get, and then we've talked about this on the podcast too, and I've developed this from my mom, and that in itself, like, so just being more tolerant to other people's opinions and stuff like that, which obviously you don't want to be an asshole to people, but at the same time, you also got to stand up for what you're about and what you believe in. It's okay for people to have other opinions, but like, you're not going to be, push back because they'll use the race card on you, or the bigotry, or whatever, mansplaining, all this other crap that's out there. And so, yeah, this that's gotten to me before in the past. I'm pretty sure growing up, and you know what? That's pretty common in the Hispanic home. That's what I find every time I speak to other guys. Like, they try to not be so confrontational. Is that kind of been a little bit a part of your upbringing as well?
Of not being confrontational?
Not being confrontational.
Yes. People try to hide in the shadows. They hide their own feelings. They put a mask on and not really express themselves. I've been in that situation, and I kind of am still. I kind of am holding back a little bit with what I really want to share in the world, but I'm getting better with that. And that's why a lot of people get offended on social media, because as long as you're not spreading hate, you're doing it for the right reasons with the right intentions. That's all that really matters. Like, if you're calling people out, there's a difference between calling people out versus calling them up, versus, giving them constructive feedback versus just criticizing them negatively, talking down on them and just shitting on them, versus, trying to help them out or just trying to coach them. So there's differences between that, and you want to lift other people up. So sometimes we do got to be confrontational and, like, do it with the right intentions. And again, like you were saying, like, it is avoided, and I've caught myself in the past, and I still kind of am. I still catch myself not really fully expressing what I really want to put out there in the universe.
I'm kind of sensing a little bit of that right now. Like, I to me, and if I could be open here with you, is that because when we were just talking just now, you were very loud and blah 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 blah. Like, this is what my intentions. And now, ever since I kind of brought up that topic there, I could tell your tone kind of went down a little bit. Are you holding back a little bit right now?
Oh, no, not really.
Okay,
just thinking about that question. Observing.
No.
Well, let's go all out.
Let's go, because I want this is the point where we have these type of conversations, is because I want a safe space for people to. It's okay. We're not gonna agree on a few things. We're gonna. Obviously we agree on a lot of things. We're not gonna agree on everything.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I was very interested in wanting to have you on the podcast, because again, you have been very loud. You've been actually calling people out, and that's what I'm drawn to. And so the people need to hear this.
Yeah, with the right intentions, people have a perspective that I'm calling them out, but I want to call them up. I want them to be better. And during the whole 2020, that helped me develop just having a strong person, because I was being very vocal online, just sharing my own opinions when everybody was just hiding in their shell, just being comfortable and just conforming to what they're trying to tell everybody to do. I was doing the opposite. Like, I was not doing any of the testing. I was not getting any of the shots. I was just doing my own thing, just staying focused, trying not to pay attention too much, because it was just too much to avoid. Everybody was just in line. The stickers were on the floor, and people were in line outside the grocery store. So I was like, man, I don't want to be here. Like, it was kind of hard to avoid. Everything was closed, so you could only do so much. So I already knew, like, it was just in my opinion, like
Was-
it was just a setup.
Wasn't it so weird? Like it's like everyone all of a sudden is like, gotta get this shot. We gotta get this. We gotta go and get toilet paper.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
toilet paper.
what the hell is wrong with people right now? It's like, why aren't we questioning this stuff? Like, you can't. I mean, that's also one of the things I'm teaching in my household with my kids is it's okay. Like, you gotta think for yourself. You know,
Critical thinking.
I'm not here to tell you. Well, I mean, I'm here to guide you and make sure you don't kill yourself and hurt yourself, obviously, but also show you that you don't need to go the mainstream. You gotta be able to challenge, other perspectives, and that's okay.
Don't go the wide path, go the narrow way.
Exactly.
That's in the Bible.
Exactly. And
All these churches conformed, and they're like following the government's rules, and that's what triggered a lot of people, and that's what developed me to be stronger with all the backlash because I was being so vocal online.
Yeah.
I was like, it was getting to my head. I was like, oh man, like this is too much. A lot of people are hating on me just because I'm sharing my views, and it seems like everybody's ganging up on me. But at the end of the day, I stuck to my words, stuck to my guts, and now it's 2024, and I'm very proud of the direction I went, because there's a lot of people that are suffering right now because of the consequences they took because of that, because they're scared or they conformed, and look at them now. Like it's just sad. And they're not even showing it on the mainstream media, so
they're not.
You got to search for that.
What have you seen that where it's like the consequences of going down that route?
People dropping dead.
Dropping done.
Athletes. It's on.
There's
who? Videos of athletes. I can't think of their names, but there's been football players. That football player that dropped, I think he was I think his name was Hamlin or something like that. Remember that? Buffalo Bills player.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know what you remember.
I've heard. He got a little tackle and he just dropped. And so apparently he died, and supposedly there's a double that played a stunt double after that.
No shit.
Yeah. But that's like going.
I didn't know about that part.
That's like going deep in the rabbit hole. Like I've stopped going deep in the rabbit hole because it's just too much energy, mind consuming. I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna focus on myself because this goes very, very deep. And
that's what I was about to ask you.
The reality is not really true. What we see out there, what is reality? Like the mainstream media is controlled at the end of the day. So
yeah,
even the sports that we see, it's owned by mainstream media.
It is.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, that's exactly how I feel about that. So, yeah, go ahead. You got a little cramp.
Hamstring cramp. Okay.
I'm starting to feel a little bit in my chest. We just got done doing 20 push-ups out there, just kind of bring our energy, raise our frequency up. We'll talk about that here as well. And so, man, but I didn't know they put in a stunt double for that game. That's really hiding some shit.
Well, not for that game. It was after the fact.
Okay.
Apparently he passed away, and there was like pictures of him. He didn't really have the tattoos he had before. So, yeah, you just got to do your own research. I'm going to stand up for a little bit because that hamstring cramp is killing me.
Are we still good on the camera if he stands up? Mm-hmm. Cool. You know what? Go ahead and raise your mic up. That way you can still. I'll join you. I'm not going to be the only one sitting down here. We've actually done this too before. We had a.
I did like that today. Sorry.
That's okay. We had our guy Wolf that came into the studio. He came in with his dog, and his dog was just like all over the place. And so we stood up for the podcast. So I kind of like it too sometimes.
Yeah, I like standing up better.
Awesome. We're good.
Sorry about that.
All good, man. So yeah, so
standing is better for us, by the way. Yeah.
It is.
It's a lot better. So the more we sit, the more likelihood our death rate increases, and the more stress we develop, and the more chances of us getting diabetes increases as well. We can sit down.
Okay,
we can sit back down.
Yeah.
We can sit back down.
That's it? Oh, okay.
Did you say you can't do it? You can't do it standing?
I cannot hold 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. So,
You sure?
yeah. This is just part of the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, things are going to happen on this podcast, so I don't want it to be so predictable. But yeah, man. So the standing part. Now you're just triggering that whole part, the whole thing in my mind, because everyone is sitting, and
Exactly.
is doing everything when they're sitting, when they're working, they're driving, all of that. So you just hit on a point of we're closer to our deaths if we're sitting.
Yes, because we're living more a sedentary lifestyle. When we're sitting, we're so comfortable, and we're actually putting pressure. We're putting pressure on our lower back, and most people that are overweight, most people that are doing office jobs, they're more than likely going to be overweight. They're going to be pre-diabetic or diabetic because they're living a sedentary lifestyle. They're not moving as much as they should. And that's just sitting down in itself is putting pressure on their lower back. And if they're overweight, that's going to put more pressure on their lower back. So they're living constantly in pain. So that's where the disease happens. Pain is just a sign that something is going on within your internal self. And it's much more bigger than just pain. Pain is just an alarm in our brain that's telling us that we're trying to alarm us that something is going on internally that we got to fix, that we got to change our life, our livelihood, our health. So
do you ever wonder, like, because I've had this thought in my mind so many times when I'm driving, because we're driving and we're sitting down and, you know, we're using mainly our right foot, which usually on most people is their dominant foot. And you're switching, but then your left leg is not doing anything. It's not stretching. It's not moving that ligaments and the hamstrings. You know, it's going up to, you know, your quads. Like, I don't know. Am I rambling on something here? Or is that?
I mean, you might be onto something.
I might be onto something. So
we're using more like the right leg muscles compared to the left. So maybe that's why our right legs are more prone to injury, more subluxation, more dislocation in our right side versus the left side.
Versus the
yes, yeah.
And you see that a lot in the chiropractic practice.
Yes. Yeah. There's certain patterns that people show up, and it's very common. So, yeah.
Is this also the most common one? Where, and I've been very cautious about this. We even harp on my son about, because he plays on the switch.
Yes.
And your neck is turned this way.
Yep, same thing with us looking down on our phones. It just straightens that natural curve that we're supposed to have in our cervicals on our neck. And if we have a straight neck, then that's going to more than likely develop to a, you're good? Okay, that's going to develop into forward head posture. And the more forward our head is, the more pressure our spinal cord and our spine is going to have. And that's going to cascade all the way down to our lower back. And that's where the rounding of the shoulders and the hunchback.
Can you tell that on me? Like, is that very obvious on me? Do I have that so bad? Is it bad?
It's not. Yours isn't bad,
Okay.
but you can definitely use some extension. So the longer that we sit, the more that's going to happen. We're not supposed to be sitting down for a long time.
What do you recommend for someone that's needing to get that corrected? Like you said I could use some extension. Yeah. What does that entail? What equipment can I use?
What equipment? You can do just extension, like some extension workouts with your back, focusing on back workouts, dead hangs, just hanging from a bar and hanging and just letting your weight just drop. Or just seeing a chiropractor and getting that adjusted. Yeah. Getting back into alignment.
It's probably one of my favorite things. I like to be at the gym and just hang. You just put your arms up and you just hang from that really bar.
Good. Yeah.
I always, to me, I mean, I haven't heard anyone really tell me that. I'm starting to see that more recently online, but I just have always been doing it just because it felt good. So I was like, I never did it for any particular reason other than it just felt better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super helpful. I love it too. Sometimes it just takes time, and I'm like, there's just an extra workout that I don't want to do right now.
So I wanted to get back on the holistic side, because you got me going. I mean, I was cracking up when you said people call you the snake doctor, so what, elaborate more on this holistic side. What are you talking about online? What's the message there to a lot of people?
So my message is, again, you're your own doctor. That's why I don't really take too much pride of calling myself a doctor. I don't really mind other people not calling me doctor. I get it. I earned it. It was a lot of schooling. Schooling wasn't my thing. And I know that people can heal naturally versus going the westernized medical route. I'm more Eastern based. I would rather practice Chinese based medicine. And even before chiropractic, they're practicing this type of work in the ancient days before licensing and all this schooling was happening, which is, at the end of the day, is just business. The schools is just business. Yeah. So they're practicing that back in the ancient days. So I'm more of the Eastern Chinese medicine route. Here in the United States, it's westernized, and people, the solution for the medical doctors is put you on pills or surgeries, and yeah, that's basically it. Or injections. They want to inject you with stuff, steroids, chemicals, vaccines. And where I'm coming from is, as long as your brain and your spinal cord is connected and there's no interferences in between your brain and spinal cord, your neurospinal system, your nerves that connect to your organs, then your likelihood of functioning better and expressing yourself to your fullest optimal self is just infinite amount of potential versus living in a disease, sick state and getting caught up in the cycle and the matrix of just, you got to be dependent on pharmaceuticals and not really getting to the solution, because in the United States, 70% of the population is taking pharmaceutical drugs every day. Crazy. Yeah. So it's just a business. It's a never ending cycle. So at the end of the day, you have control of your own health. So,
and that's why I'm telling people too that, and I've always harped on, like, the medical field, it's a business. Yes, they want to heal you, but if they heal you, then they don't have customers.
Exactly.
And then I swear they're also in it with the food supply, because the food supply, if you're eating everything, like, can you believe that I can't remember, the National Food and Drug is putting like cereal as part of, like, the nutritional,
American Standard Diet.
Yep. American Standard Diet.
Yeah, it's all flipped backwards. They want people to eat breads, milk, cereals. That's like the baseline. That's like the most important thing. And then protein, meats is like the last thing we should be focused on. It's flipped backwards. And funny thing about the FDA, it's called Food Drug Administration. It's in the name. Like, why is it together? Food, drugs. Like, food should be our medicine, not drugs. So why is drugs in that name?
So it should be. So you're saying it should be Food Administration, and then you have a separate category for Drug Administration, and then everything else.
Yes,
I'm on board with that.
Yes,
we gotta make that. We gotta start pushing that. So don't get us canceled here.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, talking about the football player and stuff like that, that might catch some controversy right now. That's probably why I caught a cramp in my hamstring, but it's all good.
They heard you.
Sign from the universe, sign from God.
Oh man.
But yeah, the FDA, even the father of modern medicine, which was Hippocrates, he even said, look first to the spine for disease. So why aren't the medical doctors, why aren't the hospitals looking first at the spine? Like, that's the father of modern medicine right there. And he said, food is your medicine. So why aren't we focusing on food? Why are we focusing, instead we're focusing on just administrating pills, potions, surgeries, injections. First thing when a baby is born, the baby got to get injected. Inject this baby, inject. Why? Because they get incentives. They get paid for it. They get paid for all that. That's how they get their bonuses. And why are people so many sick nowadays? The third leading cause of deaths in the United States is doctor-induced deaths. I would argue is number one, cancer. They say it's cancer, heart attacks, and then doctor-induced. I think it's called, I forgot what the term is, iatrogenic deaths, which is doctor-induced.
Yeah.
So they say that's the third leading cause. Third or fourth, I don't know. They changed the list. CDC.
It's constantly changing.
And NIH, they control all the statistics, and they can manipulate the statistics and change the definition of vaccines. Like the definition of vaccine changed after 2020. So who has the power to change the definition of vaccine?
There's changing the definition on all kinds of things there. And that's what's so nuts. That's why this message about, whenever you're, because I know you and is it okay if I talk about you and your fiance are trying to conceive? Yeah. So like, I kind of just threw it out there. I could always edit this, but but like for you, I think that's so important as you become a father. Congratulations on you guys about to get married in November, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have a good memory. So and so, you're going to have that same thought process, coaching your kids on this, Yes, go there, go here, go here, go here.
Most
Parents
definitely.
aren't doing that. And so this is where, this is also part of why we're doing this podcast, because I do want to inspire. I'm not the perfect father. I am not. I'm far from it.
Nobody's perfect.
I'm going to continue to work on that and do whatever I can to make sure I set my kids up to be more successful than me. That's my goal. I don't want them to be so reliant on me. I want them to be reliant on themselves. And I don't want them to be reliant on the school system. I want them to be reliant on their capability of finding information and being able to challenge the thought process. Yeah. That's what I'm coaching my kids on. So something that I would just, continue to do what you're doing. I think your kid's going to get a lot from, as you continue to build out your social media, you having more appearances on other people's podcasts. They're going to be able to learn from it, and their kids are going to learn from this as well, because this is recording history to train and develop. Mm-hmm. Because we don't want to repeat the past.
It's empowerment. Yeah. We want to continue to grow and learn from the mistakes from the past. Nobody's perfect, not even myself. I've made a lot of mistakes. I was also born into the matrix, into the society standards, which is super low now. And we got to raise above and just learn and do better every day as much as we can. Because if we don't, then we're going to just stay in the same spot, or we're going to end up in the worst spot. So we want to continually grow, and we don't want to just give our kids, our future kids, whatever they want, because if we do that, they're never going to learn. They have to learn through their own struggles. So if we just give everybody a handout, then it's kind of like that lottery winning mentality. Most people lose their money, especially if they're not personally developed as a person. They're going to spend their money on nonsense, and they're going to end up losing all that lottery money. So same thing with our kids. We can't hand them everything. They have to learn from their own experiences. And we also learn from the kids as well. We learn patience and all that wisdom that we learn from having kids.
So how did you learn this? Like, how did you, because we were talking out there before the podcast that you wake up at 2:30 in the morning.
2:45.
2:45.
Every day.
And you're in the gym by like what?
4 a.m.
By 4 a.m. And so, but that's like your quiet time. And that's how you mentally strengthen yourself. You actually talked about raising your frequency that way.
Yes.
And so
that's the main reason I do it.
That's the main reason.
Yes.
So like, how did you find this out? Like, what inspired you?
It was through a mentor. I found him online. His name is Wes Watson, by the way. This was my first coach, my first mentor, and I'm very grateful for his knowledge and wisdom, and I still implement a lot of his teachings till this day. And he's been doing the same thing, waking up at 2:45 every day for, I think, 10 years or more. And he's successful just by doing that. And he came out of prison after 10 years, and he was teaching. He was all about frequency, vibration, and very in tune with himself, and a very successful person. So he was out there teaching others the man that he became, and that's what we should strive to, is become that person that we want, the person that we admire, and share that to the world, versus, being a mediocre person and giving mediocre energy towards the world, to people.
Keep going. I'm looking up Wes Watson here. Try to
so
find it.
You want to become the man that you respect, that you admire, that other people will respect, and show them how to do it as well. If you don't respect yourself, how do you expect others to respect yourself? So if you don't respect yourself, how do you expect your kids to respect you? So a lot of people are just set up for failure, and we all got to push ourselves to the max. And that 2:45 a.m., nobody wants to do it, and it's all mindset. It's physical, and it's fine. It gets you in a higher vibration. After working out and doing something hard, you feel proud of yourself, because the byproduct, you're bound to get results if you're actually challenging yourself and you have a right program, and you're dialing in your nutrition as well. On top of that, you're feeding yourself positive thoughts, you're reading positive things, you're listening to positive things, you're letting go of the vices, the drugs, and the alcohol, and you're just becoming a better man, which the world needs right now, because there's a lot of people that are just average. The average American is 17 pounds overweight, so that's not good. A lot of people are sick out there in the streets. And coming from a doctor of chiropractic, like, I notice this kind of stuff. I notice people's postures. That's what I was trained as. It's just a natural instinct for me, and I see a lot of people that are in a diseased state. So I don't want to live like that. I'd rather be the opposite, just go the narrow way, because a lot of people are just, they have low standards in their life, and I don't want to be that in my only life. Like, why does anybody want to live that type of life with our only life that we have here on this earth? Like, wouldn't you want to go to your fullest? Like yourself, you have this podcast. It's amazing. Like, you're going your fullest with this. Like, that's a lot of people's dreams. Like, a lot of people they want to be on podcasts. They want to have their own podcast, and you're doing the work. So you're sharing yourself, you're sharing your work with other people to inspire them, like they can do it as well.
So I can't take all that credit, because it's, from what I've learned from my mentors and being around, great men, is that you can't do it alone.
Yeah, you said Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah. So you got to build the right team. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thankful for my business partner, Jaron. I mean, Jaron, he's my guy. Like, we're ride or die brothers. And so we're in this growing our All-American Canine supplement products, which we have a great care for dogs, and then wanted to work with, active military, canine, police canine units, and then hunting dogs and farming dogs. So All-American Canine, we're very passionate in that space, along with our own healthcare. So whenever it's funny, we're out on business calls. Our business calls are never where we're at our desk. We're always at the gym.
Oh, really? Nice.
We're always, he'll call me and we'll be on a call, or we'll even just show up at the gym together, and we'll just be there on the treadmill. All we're doing is walking, but we're having these conversations. And
walking is the best cardio.
100%. It inspires so many different things. I mean, I hate boardrooms. I hate it, because I'm sitting there, and unless I'm having a really good conversation, I loathe it. I'd rather be outside.
It's stressful for the body.
Yeah.
For the mind.
From what I'm learning from you, 100%. And so when I'm on these walks, I'm more, I guess, I have more courage in being able to speak my mind and being able to have those tough conversations with him. And same thing for him back at me. He challenges me a lot. And so having that level of movement, like, we have more ideas from that than we do just, hey, how's it going? Yeah, what you doing? Yeah. Just so boring. We need
talk,
the whole structure of how people do business in boardrooms, which boardrooms, they're necessary, but not all the time. You got to be able to mix it up, have something that challenges you mentally, getting your creative juices going as well.
Yeah. Like you said, we're not doing this alone. We're all a collective conscious, and it's better to have a team that's like-minded versus trying to figure it out on your own. That's why I invested into a coach, into a mentor, because they will help you. You don't have to figure it out on your own. They're going to teach you the way to look, and then you just got to be willing to put in the work yourself. And it's easier to do that, to invest in yourself, versus wasting time.
It was Wes Watson, you said, right?
Yes, Wes Watson.
How'd you find him? Like, how did you know that this was the guy you wanted to learn from?
It was somebody else. It was through Instagram, and I just stumbled upon his page, and I was just vibing with what he was saying. So that's how I found him, and I just vibed it. I just listened to him for like 6 months, and then I just invested into the coaching program, my first mentor, my first coach. As far as like personal development, I've had chiropractic, personal, can't think of it, just not coaches, but mentors.
Mentors, yeah.
Yeah, I've had chiropractic mentors, because school is not going to teach you everything. So I already knew that I didn't want to follow chiropractic just through schooling with people that are unsuccessful, just working for a paycheck. So I had to go outside of school to actually become a better chiropractor, and not have a low standard with my career. So same thing with the personal development journey. Like, everybody wants to be better. Nobody wants to do worse. Nobody wakes up wanting to be more broke or unhealthy or fatter. So, and just we want to be stronger minded people. So, and this person, Wes, he just had that, and I was like, I like where he's coming from. I'm going to go ahead and just invest into this program and learn from him. And to this day, I still listen to him. And I mean, I listen to other people as well. And yeah, it's just been a game changer, just having a mentor, a coach. So
yeah, so it took you 6. So was that kind of like your process of I'm going to wait 6 months before I invest in something like this? I want to be able to, because
No.
you struck me as the type of guy like I'm going to wait until I can fully trust. You know, there's always two sides of the coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, with him, it was just finances. I was just like, I'm not anywhere where I want to be to invest in this right now,
Okay.
which is perfectly fine. And there's been other times where, you know, I've had the finances and this guy was persuading me into investing into this program, for instance, like a real estate program. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this chance. And they end up burning you. And, you know, you still learn from those failures. You still learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's a risk, but there's no biscuit without the risk. So we have to be willing to take those risks. And that's where the trust comes in. People are looking for results. They're looking for the help. And if people can't deliver that, then that's where the mistrust happens. And, you know, maybe we did get screwed over by that other person. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we will learn from those failures. Or the person actually went all in and taught you everything and, you know, just made you a better person.
Yeah. So I never grew up in a household where my father said to search for a mentor.
Yeah, same.
That was never the message there. I fell backwards into that opportunity here. Me, myself, I was in the fitness industry working at Lifetime Fitness, and then, you know, met my wife, and I was trying to bounce around, trying to find financial stability. I got into the financial service industry. Was really was trying to build up my career in the financial service industry, and I fell backwards into falling into a good situation being around a guy like Patrick Bet-David. And so it never really kicked in until it had to been like my 3rd month with his company called PHP, where I had to read a book every single month, and it was required. And I'm like, who's this guy challenging me to read books? I hated reading books, just so you know. I'm still not the best reader. I tried to avoid reading throughout high school, through anything, just because I always thought of myself as a horrible reader. And then I was forced to read. And then I noticed after, you know, again, after that 3rd month of having to read books and doing a book report on it, have I seen things are just getting better for me, how I'm operating, how I'm thinking. And then this guy, you know, he's helped mold me into becoming part of the man I am today. Very, very blessed to be around that community and some of the leadership that was there. And so that's something, if you're not able to invest, go and search for that type of mentor. I advise a lot of men, like, you don't have to have money. What you can do is you go out and you search for the right man, and who's in the position of where you want to be.
Exactly. What skill set do you want to develop?
Exactly. And so you go, and you don't trust right away. You do some research, you test out, and then go and work for them at some capacity, at some level, maybe even just volunteering. But just being around that type of culture, that, you know, you'll understand their mindset, how they operate, their systems, and then you will develop. It's just like a child's mindset. He actually said this on his podcast, that kids catch more than what they're taught. Same for as adults. You catch more than what you are taught. So you being around that culture, you catch so much, and you start to really see that day in and day out. And so I tell guys all the time, where they ask me, how did you get to where you're at? I'm like, guys, I fell in this by accident, but since this opportunity is being presented to you, go and find a mentor. And if I can help in some way, I will. But you go and find someone where they're doing what you want to be doing at a high level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if anybody can do it, you can do it as well. So we shouldn't limit ourselves just because this person is in that higher level than we are in this current moment. That doesn't mean that the possibility of us reaching that or doing better is not there as well. It's going to take work, obviously, but, you know, you still got to be consistent and not quit, because a lot of people end up quitting and they don't keep their word to themselves with the work that is required to get there. A lot of people are quitters. I've quit in my past as well. I've quit my high school basketball team, and until this day is regretful. I still think about it, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm not caught up in it, but
Are you pretty good?
yeah,
Yeah.
I stopped playing basketball. I still think about playing basketball and just, just put
Just
on the shoes.
recreational, just for fun.
Yeah.
It'll freaking get you in shape.
Yeah, a lot of cardio. So that
a lot
helped
of
out.
cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want to end up quitting on what's really resonating in your heart that you really should be doing. For instance, if you want to get in shape or lose fat, why would you want to figure it out on your own? Most people they think that they can do it on their own, but they end up losing weight for a temporary, short period of time, and they end up gaining the weight because they don't know how to maintain, or it's just they have unsustainable results due to their unsustainable habits. And it's just better to dial that in and not go back to where you're at, and not figuring it out on your own. Because I used to be an athlete. I used to play basketball all the time, work out all the time, and I still wasn't. I was putting a lot of hours, and I still wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I was still chunky because I wasn't dialing in my nutrition, and having intentional training. I was working out, but I was intentionally training. There's a difference between working out and training. So, yeah, I was just wasting a lot of time, even though I knew working out was good. So we just have to find the right people that can actually give us sustainable results and accountability. That's what most people want, is accountability to reach that higher level of themselves, whatever skill set, whether it's health, finances, relationships, mindset, nutrition, religion. Yeah.
So humor me here. I can't even talk right now. I'm on a podcast. I can't talk. So humor me for this 1 second here. Someone that's can't quite afford a personal trainer.
An actual personal trainer?
An actual personal trainer. Okay. Not even online. I have this thought I have this in my head, but for you, how would you advise someone, hey, brother, I know you can't afford me. You can't afford a trainer, but I know you want to get in shape. Like, what is there a system or a method that you would advise them to take?
I would be like, what's your budget? What are you spending your money on? Are you working? How much money are you bringing into the table? How much are you spending on junk food? Are you spending your money on coffee? Are you spending your money on alcohol, cigarettes, drugs? You need to let that go. If you really want to change your life, you got to let go of those vices and create new habits, better habits, so that you can actually have sustainable results. And I can also be like, in-person training, that's going to be expensive as well. The average one session is about $100.
Yeah.
That's for one session. And you get about 3 sessions per week. So that's $300 per week. At Equinox, at Crunch, that's the average price of in-person training. And
Crunch
they're just
charging that much?
I think so. You can get a crackhead in the streets and they're going to charge you $50, and that's still going to be more expensive than online personal coaching when you add up the numbers monthly wise. So you can get $50. What I'm charging is $10 per day, $300 a month. So, and you get the nutrition plan as well. The in-person athletic trainers, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you said you worked at the gym.
Yeah, I was never a personal trainer. I was in sales, selling gym memberships. Okay. But yeah,
I don't know. From what I hear is they don't give you a thorough plan, nutrition plan where they hold you accountable and they track everything. A lot of the trainers don't. They just stand there and watch you work out and work on your form. And they just push you, and that's it. They don't give you a nutrition plan. So you want somebody that can provide that for you and actually track every day what you're eating and hold you accountable.
Is it wrong for people, and to me, I don't think it's wrong to judge the personal trainer on what they look like. I mean, because I see personal trainers inside gyms. Yes, they may be very knowledgeable. Yes, they've gone to school and got the kinesiology certification. I did too, but I didn't have to take it. So that's how much I know that, getting that certification is not that hard, and it's not that regulated. So I look at these personal trainers and I'm just like, you really want to train? Because they'll call me up and like, hey, you get personal training from me. You'll get a free session from me. I'm like, no, I'm not going to get one from you. What would make you think I would want to train with you if you look like this? Exactly. Is that wrong of me?
I don't think so. I think we're all judgmental in a way, even though we might say never judge another person. But it's a natural instinct. And why would we want to learn somebody that's more out of shape than us? Or why, if we're not in shape, why would we want to look like that person that is teaching us personal training if we don't want to end up looking like him? So if somebody, for instance, at the gym, if somebody's giving me advice on lifting better, like I'll take it with a grain of salt, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, am I going to end up looking like you? Because I know I look better than you. Like I look more jacked, I look more ripped, and I weigh more than you. Not that it's a big deal of weighing more than other people.
Yeah.
But if I don't want to look like you, so I'm going to take that advice with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So, same thing with teachers, like school teachers or your parents. Like you get less respect if you're not taking care of yourself, your well-being. Kids are embarrassed of their parents. I was embarrassed of my parents. We're driving in beat up cars, going to school. I was super embarrassed, like, because in my mind I was like, man, this is embarrassing. I look like a poor guy. The poor kid, and these other kids are driving in cool cars, and we had a Camaro that was like one of our best cars, and one of our best cars, we had a white truck, and my dad still has his white truck. He's been having that for like 20 plus years. He's a very resourceful guy, but our uncle gave us a Camaro at that time. We didn't have much money. He had the money. He was a restaurant owner, and my sister's brother gave us a Camaro at that time, back before the new Camaro versions came out. And that was like the only cool car. Like I was like pulling up, I was telling my parents just to raise up the music, put on some 50 Cent, put the windows down so I can look cool. And then whenever we would pull up in the like station wagon and the 2-door truck, I was like, oh man, this is embarrassing.
So is your both parents are Hispanic?
Yeah.
Are they first generation here in America?
Yes.
Yeah. So to me, it's like when we're kids. So if I may, I mean, I would give your parents, some benefit of the doubt for
most
sure.
definitely, yeah.
Because you are obviously doing better. You are mentally stronger, and that's what I want for my kids. I want my kids to be mentally stronger than me. I want to set the bar here and let them rise way above it.
Yeah.
And so, I want to say,
Oh yeah, I'm still
congratulations to
grateful.
your parents.
Yeah, I'm still.
I'm grateful for my parents.
But in
well.
that moment when I was kid, I didn't know anything.
We all have those moments.
I didn't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Like, just that kid mindset.
So back to what I was saying about for the advice you would give to the kid, and this goes for business as well. Is that everyone preaches goals, but say fitness goals, because I'll even use this whole like, okay, it's not only is it about to be summertime, but say I'll make like I know there's a certain event that's going to come up, and I constantly make sure that by that certain event I am at like this level of health and fitness, and then once that event comes, then I set a new one. I have to constantly set a new one, and it can't be a long-term one. Obviously, long-term I want to be at my healthiest, at my fullest. I want my kids to have a really hard time having to beat me at anything athletic or strength, but for someone trying to lose weight, get healthy, just keeping that yearly round thing. I think that's probably the best way to really stay healthy all year round, instead of just losing weight and then reverting back to your old habits. Mm-hmm. You guys constantly got to be setting those goals.
Short-term versus long-term.
Exactly.
You still have to have the long-term goals, like you want to have a high specific income goal.
Yeah.
But you have to work baby steps as well. You can't just stay focused on that long-term goal. Like you still want to keep that in the back of your mind. I'm working through this as well and learning this, but for instance, you want to make a certain amount per month, and it's maybe a little bit too much of a goal. So you want to bring down the goal and then reach that higher goal eventually and work that way. Mm-hmm. So just more proportionalizing it, or for instance, if you want to make $10,000 per month, maybe you can't make $10,000 that same month, and a lot of people will be hopeless if they don't. They'll give up. The thing is, you got to shift your mind. You'll be like, maybe I should work towards $2,000 per month, $1,000, $5,000 a month,
Yeah.
8,000, and then 10,000. Now you can keep that momentum going versus, shooting big and
That's-
giving up.
That's part of that mental toughness that you develop. So we're in. So part of my because you know what? Ever since you told me you wake up at 2:45, I'm gonna give that. I'm actually gonna try that. I've actually done this to where I've woken up at like 3:30 in the morning, and I've obviously I've gotten away from that, but I'm gonna try that. But for in that time, are you? Because we talked about grounding. So you wake up and you put your feet in the ground and.
Well, I'm usually I'm not wearing socks or anything. I'm not outside in the early morning.
Okay.
In the break of dawn, just going outside in the dark. I live in Oak Cliff, so it's kind of hood over there. So gotta watch my back.
I gotta watch your back in Oak
There's
Cliff.
crackheads around.
Oh
so.
my goodness.
So I'm not out there, even though we do have a backyard, but it's just, it's a ghetto environment. We have a nice house, but the surrounding areas is just like, I got to watch my back. As soon as I get out the front door, I'm just like, got to watch out. Like there's nobody laying.
You got to beeline to the car and like, just ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't ground. I usually ground in the afternoons. So lately it's been spring. I grew a garden, and that's whenever I'm like put my feet on the ground, on the dirt. So there's a lot of benefits behind that. We talked about it. Decreases your inflammation. You get the free electrons from the ground, and your energy changes as well. You feel different and more healed. And plus you're getting the morning sun. So that's an additional benefit as well. So just being out in nature is just super beneficial. Taking walks outside versus, walking on the treadmill is a big difference as well.
Oh yeah.
And we weren't born with shoes. So why are we on shoes like that? More than likely that's going to throw you off balance, especially if you're wearing boots. We're not supposed to be wearing high heels with boots. That's going to throw our whole posture off. That's why a lot of women with high heels have spine problems. So
it's kind of blasphemy here. You're in Texas. Everyone's wearing cowboy boots.
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding here. No, but that's exactly what that's putting part of my morning ritual. It's like I'm up, I have my feet in the ground, I have my morning prayer with the higher power of God, and I'm just thankful. I'm raising my frequency that way. Where I think about my successes, what I'm good at, how I feel about myself, my body, how I am mentally, and it just raises everything. It sounds so freaking cheesy that you have to do that, but it does make a difference. I've even started like brushing my teeth with my left hand instead of with my dominant hand, because it stimulates more of that the creative mindset, the different parts of the brain. Yeah,
that's good. That's hard for me to do.
It's hard for you?
Yeah, you always want to change up your daily habits. Like if you're walking a certain direction, change up the route, do something different, just so that you can rewire your mind. Because then we hardwire our mind and we just stick to our daily habits. We stick to our daily food, our bad choices, and we got to change a lot of those choices if we want to get healthier and just grow as well.
It's nuts.
It's uncomfortable, but that's where the growth happens, is just putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, such as waking up early, 2:45. So my morning ritual is 2:45. This last couple weeks I've been listening to abundant meditations. I just throw it on. I heard like the first 15 minutes is like where your unconscious mind is just more at work. Your theta mind is working, so you're more prone to intaking more information versus later on in the day, because our thought processes are higher. We're thinking more later on throughout the day. The first 15 minutes of the day, you want to listen to something positive. And right now I'm doing like abundant financial meditations. So
I'd be curious to see.
It's been cool doing that.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the results are, because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people, and I have to catch myself where I wake up and I do purposely put my phone away to where I'm away from it, and I walk away from it as I'm doing my morning ritual, and then I'll be on the treadmill and I'm just like curious about checking out different podcasts and like hearing all the noise, the politics and then they say much. And the biggest thing that I've been sucked into, because I'm a Star Wars fan, is that hearing about the Acolytes series that's going on. I don't even bother with it just because I don't want to get into that space.
Yeah.
So do you see that a lot with your own clients where you're telling them like, are you on YouTube? Is that part of your process too?
No, I just tell them, I give them the blueprint, do this training, stick to these macros, stick to this nutrition plan. We're going to do our weekly calls. We're going to see the progression. I'm holding you accountable. I can track what you're doing. I can track what you're eating. And as long as you're doing that and not cheating your meals, especially your diet, then you're going to get the results. Like, you can do whatever else you want. You can eat however way you want. You're not going to starve yourself. You're not going to be able to not eat what you love, as long as you keep it at a certain capacity and not go overboard, because most people go overboard and they don't know how to stop because of the hormones and the processed foods that are out there. There's no self-control. As long as you're not losing that control, then you're going to get the results. You can do whatever you want in your life. You can watch Star Wars. You can watch, you can't watch porn. I don't want people watching porn. I would rather you focus on actually getting a girlfriend and working towards, having a family, future girlfriend if you don't have one.
100%. I back that.
So you got to let go of your vices, let go of your addictions, and just stick to the plan, the blueprint, which is your training. I always recommend just wake up early. As a man, like, everybody should be waking up early. A lot of people they say they're night owls, but there's nothing good that happens past 10. That's where a lot of the buffoonery happens, a lot of accidents, and regrets happen. You don't want to have regrets. We should be learning from the regrets. Regrets is the low frequency vibration, and we don't want to be living in that constant regret, because that's painful. That's a painful life if we're living in constant regrets. And that's the same thing with our food. Like, sometimes we regret, we overeat and we feel like shit, and that should be a regretful type thing that we should process and not repeat that. If we're repeating that, then that's self-sabotaging our lives. We're just wasting our lives away, and we're not learning. We're not listening to that voice of God within us, because we're continuing to do those regrets. So, if you feel good watching, I watch YouTube, I watch good podcasts. I try to watch nothing but productive things that I can learn
Which
from
one do you
other
recommend?
successful podcasts.
Yeah.
I listen to Bedros Keuilian.
Dude, I'm a big Bedros fan.
Yeah,
man.
he's good. I was listening
really
to him
good.
in the morning. Yeah, he's
That guy, he's been through some shit.
Yeah,
And
he has one with Wes Watson, a podcast with
I
him.
gotta check that out then. But Bedros has been a guy that one day I'm gonna go and I want to spend some time with him myself. But he's made a big difference in how I mentally operate as well. Just like a silent mentor type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he gives a lot of value in his podcast.
So him
$100,000 program right there.
Yeah.
6 months, $100,000.
Well, we'll get him here. Bedros.
We'll get that. We'll get there one level.
One level
day.
for sure. Well, Francisco, my friend, so how can people find you and your training?
They can find me on Instagram on Dr. Francisco Guerrero, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, and YouTube as well. And my coaching program is Mindset, Fitness, and Training. Mindset, training, and nutrition. If you need help getting in the best shape of your life, I'm the man that can help you out. I'm going to hold you accountable. A lot of people need that accountability. You can look up exercises on YouTube, but are you really going to get the results? That's what I provide, is accountability and actual results. And my program is affordable, like we were saying earlier. If you get a personal trainer at the gym, they're going to be charging $100 per session, and they're not going to provide a nutrition plan. They're just going to watch you work out, and that's it. I'm going to provide you a whole different package where, you get to have that accountability, 24 access to me and the nutrition plan as well. I'm going to teach you how to eat better and still enjoy your foods. So I have a 1 month program that's $299, 3 months is $750, 6 months is $1,299, and a year is $2,000, and that's for group calls every week. And again, you get the accountability, the mindset training and nutrition program. And then I have an elite level that is 1 month. It's $2,000, and then the 3 months is $4,000 for more one-on-one. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I have to offer.
That's pretty good. And we'll mention this in the description below if you guys are watching this podcast. If you do like everything we're talking about here on this podcast, please hit that subscription button. We just want to continue to grow and bring more guys like Dr. Francisco here on this podcast. And man, this is not going to be our only one. We have so many other topics that we didn't even touch on.
Oh, yeah,
we just kind of let this fly.
Yeah.
I had a really good time.
Yeah.
So brother, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
here.
you for having me, man.
All right,
It's been a pleasure.
Guys,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.